What's going on, everyone? This is TK here with another episode of Talk to TK. And I have Coach Ernie Williams here for part 4 of 4 in our series that we've been doing this month. And today we will be talking about mental health in sports. And as everyone knows, mental health has been a really important topic in my life, in my family, in my circle of friends. And it's something that I hold near and dear to my heart. Super excited to be dropping my mental health nonprofit early next year. I'm working on that really hard right now. So my nonprofit will be geared around mental health and helping athletes as they transition out of sports, because I know that's a tough time for athletes, especially when we don't always know what we want to do with our lives after we're done playing, when our playing career is over, whether that's from an injury or whether that's because we choose to retire, whether that's because we don't get a contract. Whatever the reason is, your sports career will end. And then what? What do you do next? And many athletes fall into these downward spirals, into depression, into just anxiety about life. They just start to separate. They don't know how to identify themselves. They don't know who they are beyond their sport. And that is something that I am, with my nonprofit, when it comes out early next year, something that I will be helping athletes work through and getting them prepared for that life after sports. So be looking out for that soon. I'll be dropping some content. I'll be dropping some logos, all of that good stuff. So make sure that you pay attention and subscribe. And get excited for that and get ready for that, because it's something that we athletes need. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I have Coach E on the show for part 4 of 4, and she's going to talk to us about her mental health struggles and battles and things that she went through, whether it was in college or overseas, and just how she grew to combat those and come up with new coping techniques and skills. And then, obviously, if you guys have any questions, comments, please drop them in the chat. We will get to them and make sure that we're giving you guys the content that you are wanting and looking for. So, Coach E, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here tonight. How are you doing?
Appreciate it. I'm good. Glad to be back.
Yeah, boy. So we're just gonna. Do you have any fun facts you want to share before we jump into this really heavy topic?
Fun facts.
Something funny that happened over the weekend, anything like that?
Man, I went on my second camping trip ever, like tent camping, not RV camping. So last weekend I went tent camping and didn't get to the campsite until it was 7 o'clock and dark and cold, and had to set up my tent and a friend's tent. So we were just out there trying to put the tents together. The thing's just flying, and it's just a hot mess, but we got it done.
Okay.
And Saturday we had great weather. We were able to chill all day. The campsite I had was right on the lake, at Whitney Lake, down a little bit past Waco, Hillsboro area. So it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, I gotta see what I'm gonna do now, because it's getting real cold. I don't know if I'm gonna be tent camping. I'm gonna have to get an RV or something.
Go hey, you go glamping, that's when I'll come along.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's when I'll come, when I can go get in a warm RV and not sleep on the ground. Yeah.
I had a blow up mattress, man. It was good. Look at you.
Nah, that's not for me.
Black girls camp too?
Yeah, they do. Just not this one.
Not that one.
Just not this one.
I'm gonna get you out there. I'm gonna get you.
Nah, hey, I'll show up and we'll make some s'mores and share some stories, and then I'm gonna go to the house. Yeah. I'm gonna be the person that has the air mattress in the back of the 4Runner, and I'm gonna sleep on that.
No. I'm gonna make your tent homey. I'm gonna make it homey.
You can make the tent all you want. It does not mean I'm gonna use it.
All right.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad that was, eventually turned into a much better experience once, Saturday rolled around. And are you doing any fishing or anything?
Say it again.
Did you do any fishing?
No, I did not do fishing.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't get to. Just chilling.
Gotcha. Uh-oh, look at this. You got somebody who's on your side.
Oh, yeah. I know that's right. We got to get
No.
her. We gonna gonna get you. Oh yeah.
Oh man, so let's dive in. Pretty much, you know what? Let's just start from the top.
All right.
Tell us your mental health story. What has transpired over the years?
Well, I guess starting off in college, with injuries. I've had to deal with that mental health with injuries. I've gone through ACLs, meniscus tears, ankles, and then just the pain sometimes throughout my professional career, just knee pain and not knowing what to do. Like, I remember there's a couple seasons that, like in Spain and France, I had to actually go home because it wasn't too much, but my knees just couldn't take it. It was like a normal, preseason 2-a-days. You shoot in the morning and you practice that in the evening. You actually have a practice. And it wasn't anything that we have never done in college, trust me. But at what we were doing, my knees, my body just could not take it. It wasn't strong and it wasn't resilient. So, and this is probably 3 or 4 years into my career where I had to actually just take that half a year off and come home and find some electrotherapy that I do right now. So I had to go through like just repeated mental health issues, ups and downs, figuring out how to still perform, but in the back of my mind, like my body is not where it needs to be. I just know it. And I'm trying to figure out how to get it back. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. That was my biggest, I guess, problem I had that would make my mental health falter and my confidence go up and down. That was it. One of the biggest ones outside of, our growing and growing up and our relationships and all that stuff in school. Being able to perform without pain was my number one issue.
So that brought on what, bouts of depression? Did you have anxiety? Was it other things that came out? Was it both? Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a constant anxiety. I guess if it's constantly at the back of my mind, every practice, when we go to practice and then I get to the practice, when I go home, it's like, oh, I'm thinking about what day, literally like what day can I ask coach off and he not be mad? And how can I do this playing overseas and having to practice once or twice a day, Monday through Friday, like the anxiety of just having to ask off. I shouldn't have to ask off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't do that. It's not that hard compared to what we've been through in college. So, and most teams aren't, some are. So there was that anxiety, and then just the thought of, what if I get hurt worse, and have to sit out ACL, have to have some surgery. So there's the anxiety all the time. Mm-hmm. Imagine playing with that, all the time and having to perform and still having to get your double, and be who you're supposed to be. So there's the anxiety, and then yes, in and out of depression, where sometimes I had to leave and come home. But dealing with that, I didn't know how to deal with it. Honestly, I just tried to cope as best as I could. I tried to push through when I shouldn't have. I should have just called it and said, hey, months earlier, hey, I have an issue. My knees hurt. I've got to go. And we just don't know. We're trying to navigate this professional career in life with an agent that most of the time we have never met in person. And it's he or she is somewhere overseas. And sometimes we just don't get enough guidance, like real life guidance and support from agents or people like that. And we're scared. I was scared to say, I have to quit. We don't like saying that. And then it's the thought of, okay, so if I go home at Christmas or if I leave early, what happens to my chances of a contract next season? Even if I do get back to my health, back to me, what now? What are they going to think? So, we start to push ourselves when we shouldn't and think of these things that don't really matter. Like the stats don't not having the stats for that year doesn't really matter. It matters a little bit for the agents to find you good money, blah blah blah. But I have heard of people, Jasmine Blair, she took a whole year off, and then came back to. I think she might have coached or had some issues with it, knees or something or injury, but she played at Baylor. You remember Jazz?
Yeah, I remember Jazz.
Yeah, I know. Problem.
Problem.
Problem. Yeah, she took a year off, and then I saw her playing in Portugal.
Yeah.
Murdering people like 30. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, dang. So it doesn't really matter as long as you go somewhere. When you go and you're healthy, then you can just bust people's butt and really play and have fun in that country and with that team. So hope I answered it. I kind of rambled there.
No, that's okay. I mean, it is helpful to let other athletes know that you have to protect your body, you have to take care of your body, and you have to think about that as you continue to play in your professional career, even in your college career, because you only get one body. And yes, we understand that you get one shot, and the people graduating out of college are coming out, so they're going to be the hot names around town. But if you're putting in the work for your rehab, and then you're still training, and you're letting your recruiter, that's not the right word, your agent know, you're letting your agent know, and you're keeping the teams that are interested updated and showing them your progress. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get a contract going forward. It doesn't mean that you're going to get overlooked or any of that stuff, because you're still not of any help if you're not healthy. And you're not of any help if every time you play, you're so anxious about getting hurt more that you don't play the way you should play. And, that performance anxiety starts to come out, and then you're still of no benefit to a team. So you have to be able to understand how to weigh the pros and cons of playing through injuries, or saying, hey, I need these few days off to make sure that I'm ready at 100% or whatever that is. So understanding what that balance is. And Coach E, you're right. We don't get a lot of that kind of guidance. We get guidance from the agents about, this is, if you have multiple contracts, this is the team you should go with. I can get you more money here. If you make playoffs, there's all these incentives. If you make top 3, if you are the MVP of the league, et cetera, et cetera. So the agents can really navigate you there. But when it comes to taking care of your body, that truly does fall on you as the athlete. And athletes need to understand that. And so they need to take care of their body, from the nutrition, from the weights. Even when you come home, you still have a responsibility to take care of your body, because you don't know when you're going to get called to go back overseas, and you want to make sure that you're always ready. And that type of pressure, that type of anxiety can build up really quick, really fast. And it's not easy to play with. So what do you do to combat that? And so that's a little bit of what we're going to continue to dive into, is coping skills. What did you learn? How did you learn to cope with those anxieties? I know at some point you said you came home and then you went back overseas and you were better, but beyond just being able to just go home or take a few days off, how else were you able to learn to cope through those?
Honestly, I don't think I did.
Okay.
It was just self coping mechanisms. While I was over there, one thing I did do was try to get out when my teammates were, hanging out, going to the movies, and learning about the culture in the town. Trying not to be cooped up in the house, trying to maybe travel if we had an off weekend to the next city and learning about that city. So getting out of myself, out of my bubble there, staying in contact, keeping in contact with other players. We have friends that are also playing over there, overseas, at the same time we are in different countries. Just connecting with them, talking to them about what's going on, talking to family about what's going on. What I didn't do, though, and may regret, but it's done, is I didn't have a mental performance coach while I was over there. And it's so crazy. I might have learned a lot more about myself faster. I might have made decisions to say, like, hey, let me come home, take this season off, find a trainer, find my therapist, physical therapist for my injuries, and really get this thing healed up, and then so I can go over there mentally and physically ready. And I didn't do that, but now that we're talking, you guys make sure you're doing that. Young players that are getting ready to go from overseas from college, you have to do that. And that was one person from my success team that I did not have in place. So a success team that I talk about is, my strength and conditioning coach, my nutritionist, my massage therapist. I have those all here. And they keep me right, and some doctors, orthopedic doctors and all that. But I did not have the mind doctor. I didn't have, I didn't have a mind doctor. I had coaches that we did IQ, worked on IQ with, but I didn't have that doctor, therapist to talk to and help mature and grow and understand myself and things I wanted and how I saw the world and just things about myself that they can help guide you through thinking about.
Right. Yeah. And that's I'm glad you brought that up because it's a really good point, because within my book, it's called Breaking the Silence, Basketball's Hidden Secrets. Within my book, I have a whole chapter which I talk about the team that was built around me that actually helped me to succeed at the level that I did, to propel me to go play in college and then eventually at the professional level. And the athlete themselves is the face of the team because it's your dream. And who are you surrounding yourself by to help you fulfill your dreams? So when it comes to basketball, there's so many coaches out there. You have your head coach, your assistant coaches, you have your personal trainer, you have your weight coach, you have your nutritionist, you have any trainers, athletic trainers, you have all of those. And you do so much physically for your body and to get your body into its peak shape to play at the level that you need to play at. And then no one ever touches on the mind, just like you said, that mindset, your mentality. What is your approach? What are your habits? What are your routines?
Yes.
How do you play through slumps? How do you play when your confidence is going up and down? How do you become consistent? All of those things. How do you play through that performance anxiety, like you were talking about previously, when you were worried about your injuries making it worse because your career was on the line, and all of those things. So how do you bring yourself back? How do you mentally prepare for travel, for games, for performance anxiety? How do you work through all of those things? And that's exactly what a mental performance coach does. And that's exactly what I do in my business, is I help athletes through that. So when you're building your team, when you're really focusing on how the athlete you want to be, it doesn't matter what sport it is, get a mental performance coach. Contact me. I will put my contact information there. Contact Coach E. This is what we are doing. This is where we truly are working to give back to the next generation something that we didn't have ourselves, but have been deeply impacted by. Yeah. And this is something that is very much so needed in order to become that 1% that is the LeBron James and the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants and the Shaqs of the world. If you want to be in that 1%, look at what they're doing. They're not just training their body physically. They're not just eating the right way. They're mentally preparing. They're getting their sleep. They have routines that they follow. They have certain things that they have a certain structure to their day that allows them to train and be the best that they can be all the time. And so get the right team around you and make sure you have a mental performance coach on your team, because they will be the extra oomph that you need to take you to a different level, to the level you're really trying to get at, and work with them and let them work with you and be absorbent of that information, just like you are with your coaches, just like you are with your trainers and your nutritionists. It all works together to make a complete athlete, and it's something that is needed. It's mental health, it's mental performance, it's performance anxiety, it's confidence, it's everything.
Yeah,
it's everything.
Absolutely.
So yes, that I love that. I love that so much. So, what advice? I know you kind of just dropped the gem on with the mental performance coach, but what other advice would you give to athletes around mental health?
Stay in tune with how you're feeling and acknowledge how you're feeling.
Okay.
And try different things that you might not normally try to help kind of dissipate your stress or your anxiety or help you get through. Like listening to positive affirmations on YouTube, or taking some time to meditate. If you don't know what does that look like, you can make it your own. You can go on Google and kind of research it and see what it looks like. How do other people meditate? And really, it is just trying to find some peace and quiet time for yourself to clear your thoughts, to be quiet in the mind, to stop the mind racing in the thoughts and the negativity, and start to get positive and optimistic in your mind and how you talk to yourself. I've been doing a lot of practicing that during COVID. So I've also started meditating every morning, and then doing affirmations. There was a moment during this summer that I would write and a positive affirmation for myself that I thought of myself on my bathroom mirror. And I built that up to like 30, 35 days. And it was cool. It was awesome. And it feels weird if you're not used to it. If you're not used to saying good things to yourself, hearing good things from others. If that positivity is not in your circle, you need to change your circle and start with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You need to talk to yourself more positive, and speak good things that you want to happen, your goals, into the air, and talk about them and say them. So you're going to be talking to yourself, but that's okay. So I've been doing a lot of that. I've recently quit my job at Dell and started basketball training full time. So it's been tough, right in the middle of COVID, where I'm in a business where I have to be face to face and with kids out in the open. And so that has slowed down a little bit. So I am having time to figure these things out, figure business out, figure myself out. And I'm happy. I'm happy to be in that position, because it's just growth right now. When you're in a certain unfamiliar spot, it doesn't feel good, and it's kind of up and down with my confidence and just with stuff. It's a moment where, for me, when that happens in my life, when it has happened in the past, I grow. It's a time of growth, and I know that I'm going to come out on the other end sooner or later, where I kind of want to be, or where I should be.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I really, really like what you said, especially around your self-talk, your positive self-talk, because you're always listening. If you are always listening, why not make it a positive message? Mm-hmm. Why not focus on the things that help you grow, that help you stay in a space of uplifting and in an upbeat space? And it doesn't mean that every single thing in your life is going to go perfect, mm-hmm. but it does mean that when adversity strikes, you are choosing to focus on what you learned from that and how you can get better to overcome that hurdle. Right. Instead of just doing the woe is me. And even when I was in college, there were days where I was so hard on myself and I had to pull myself out. And something that I would do is very similar to what you were talking about on when you write positive affirmations on your mirror. Mm-hmm. At the end of every single day, I would write down 10 positive things that happened to me. And when I first started it, like you said, I felt really silly, because some of the things on that list were, I didn't trip, I broke my shoes, I smiled when I walk into class. Like, it was so like trivial, and just like, I didn't spill food on my shirt. But the more I did it, the better those positive things were, the more, because I was using my energy to focus on the positive things instead of focusing on the negative things. So you have a locus of control, and what are you focusing on? What are you choosing to focus on? Because what you focus on is a choice. And if you choose to only look at the negative, then you're going to have negative self-talk, and you're going to probably be depressed and down and sad. And if you choose to focus on the positive, then you're always in a space of learning, of growing. And growth is how you become a complete person. Growth is how you get yourself propelled to the levels that you want to get to. And the other thing that you said, going right along with positive self-talk, was you need to change the people around you. Nothing changes if nothing changes, right?
Right.
And so you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most. So look at your circle, and your circle will tell you exactly where your mindset is. And if you want to help change that, you're going to have to either remove yourself out of that circle. It doesn't mean you're not friends with them anymore. It just means you probably hang out with them a little bit less.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's certain things that you don't go to them for, and there's certain things that you do go to them for. And that's okay, because I have friends like that. I don't go to one person for everything. And there's some people who I would never go to for, say, business advice. And there are other people who are really, really good to go to for business advice. But they're still my friend. We're still cool. But that's just how it is. And that's okay.
And some of that is family too.
Right, exactly.
When we have to realize. Yeah. Exactly.
And so it's one of those things where you have to understand your mentality, what you're thinking about on a daily basis, what you're focusing on a daily basis, just like Coach E said. And that is what is going to help you as an athlete, as a professional, as a parent, as a brother, as a sister, however many hats you wear. That is what's going to help you. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you want to add on to that, Coach.
Oh, no, I don't have nothing to add. You killed it.
We have a couple of comments here. It says you grow the most when you are uncomfortable, and that is absolutely the truth.
That uncomfortableness, and you definitely do. You definitely do. Like earlier, I said when I look back in my past about things that were uncomfortable decisions for me to make, the teams I was on that I didn't want to be on, and I just stayed. Something good came out of it, and who knows? Was it because I changed my mind to start focusing on the positives or focusing on the opportunity at hand? Probably. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, "Oh, this team is that and this," I thought I was going to get this much money, and I thought this. Okay, here's an opportunity. What you gonna do? Mm-hmm. But yeah. Focusing on the positive. You nailed it, man. That's exactly what we have to train our mind to do. Sometimes we do that very well, and then others we don't do that very well, and we just sometimes we got to kick ourselves in the butt and say, hey, what you thinking about?
Right.
When that negative thought comes by your head, like the little marquee right there on the bottom. When it's something negative, it's like, oh, shake it out. Don't do that again. You gotta erase that.
Erase it, yeah, exactly.
You really do. Especially when you feel like just things aren't going right. You just start getting down into that slump, and you take yourself in that hole. It's like, no, don't do that. Think about what's good right now, and sometimes it's real hard. Mm-hmm. Especially when you have your own plans. Mm-hmm. Don't have your own plans. You might mess yourself up sometimes.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, when you get in a slump, man, you can't continue to think negatively in what you're not doing, because the slump is just going to get worse and it's going to last longer. Mm-hmm. So to pull yourself out of that slump, remind yourself of the positive things. Remind yourself of what you've done to prepare for this moment. And just because one or two things doesn't go your way right away doesn't mean it never will. It just means you have to find another way to go about it.
Not and right now.
When adversity strikes, just like Coach E said, it's a chance, it's an opportunity to get better. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to try something new. It's an opportunity to ask questions. It's an opportunity to learn about yourself, the project, whatever it is. And so adversity is really just an opportunity. That's all it is. And how are you going to respond? It's everyone's responsibility to respond when adversity strikes. So how are you going to respond? Are you going to have a woe is me attitude, or are you going to say, you know what, here's an opportunity for me to try something new. Just like, so there was a story that came out. It's around Kobe Bryant, and there was a new shooting coach that came to the Lakers, and he wanted to help change how Kobe's was shooting his shot. I think he was shooting it more off his pointer finger, or off his pointer finger, and he really wanted him to shoot it more off his middle fingers or something like that. And you don't just go up to Kobe and say, "Hey, you need to change your shot. This is how you shoot." No, you just don't do that. And he's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. So Kobe had a finger injury that caused him to be forced to change his shot. And what did that shot doctor do? He saw the opportunity to teach Kobe what he wanted to teach him from day one, to help Kobe with his shot. So what we see as adversity, what Kobe may have seen as adversity, this doctor saw as an opportunity.
Yeah.
An opportunity to help one of the greatest players to play with his shot, because the way he normally shot was no longer an option because he had a finger injury, and you kind of need your fingers to shoot. So it's an opportunity, but that's the point, is adversity is an opportunity. It's just how you look at it.
I like that.
So speaking of opportunities, I know that in college you went through some coaching changes, and it wasn't because, you picked new coaches and you transferred and all of that stuff. It was because the coaching staff literally changed while you were at UT Austin. So how do you mentally prepare for a coaching change midway through your college career that you did not choose or want? How do you prepare for that mentally?
Well, first off, you can't prepare for it if you have not thought that it could happen.
Okay.
And I hadn't thought that I didn't cross my mind that, okay, sometimes coaches get better deals, or assistant coaches decide to go start their head coaching career, or sometimes coaches retire, and the whole coaching staff is kind of removed and a new coaching staff comes on. It was just never brought up. It was never thought of, and I'm sure there's a lot of student athletes that go to college thinking that, okay, shoot, I signed with my coaches for 4 years. They're going to be here for 4 years. They don't know, really. That's just the coaching job and coaching game. They don't know. But what I would say to student athletes right now is your coaches could leave in 2 years or 1 year, or a assistant coach could go start head coaching or something like that. So it's possible. Now, after that, if it does happen, it's just your mindset should not change as far as what you came there to do on the student level and on the athletic level. Now it's just, hey, I have to recalibrate and learn. I got to learn my coaches because they didn't recruit me, so we don't have a connection. So I've got to meet them halfway on understanding what their expectations are of me, what they need from me, and letting them know what I want and what I expect from them as a coach. Right? Where do I want to be next year or 2 years, or by the time that I graduate? What are my goals? And how can we work together to get those done? And getting to know them and just working hard. For me, when Coach Conrad decided to retire, I think I was a sophomore. And it came as a total surprise. But I don't remember feeling angry. It was just like, confused and kind of like, oh snap, like, now what? And then it's like, okay, so who's going to be coming in? Anxious about who the next coach is, head coach, and who that, what's their background, their tradition of winning, how's it going to help the team? And then we had Coach Gessencourse come in from Duke, which I loved Duke. I wanted to play for Duke, so I was excited about that. Big Elena Beard fan in college, and I was a Monique Curry fan as well. So that was exciting. And prior to that, for the under 18 USA team that I tried out for, she was actually coaching that team. So I had met her, I think, a little bit, Coach G. But I just wasn't able to play at Duke. And then what else am I not answering right now?
No, I mean, I really was just asking, like, what is that mindset shift? Like, when you find out, okay, your coaches that recruited you are no longer going to be. It's just, what is that mindset like? What are you thinking about when you find out that the coaches that recruited you to a college are no longer going to be there, whether it's due to retirement or they, go to another school to coach, and an entirely new coaching staff's coming in? So, I mean, if that's your answer, then that's the answer. My experience looks different because I willingly left a coaching staff that recruited me, and then I willingly got re-recruited and willingly chose new coaches. So that entire process looks very different from I'm choosing to stay at my original school.
Yeah.
I'm going to play for entirely new coaching staff, like you said, with that you may not have had a connection with, no prior history. What's going to change practice wise, and how are they going to feel about my game, and how does it fit into their system? Like, I would have thought, I guess, that there may have been some anxiety, but everyone's different. So maybe you didn't really feel that. I feel like I would have felt it, but.
Well, it was. I don't remember feeling a lot of anxiety, but it was just like the wondering of like, okay, what now? Like, what are they gonna come in here and ask us to do?
Right.
It could go either way. Like, they can come in here all crazy and nobody gets along, or we can do this, we can get along. But my mindset was really just, hey, to be honest, playing time. I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
So let me figure out what the heck you trying to run. What's your philosophy? What are you looking for? What are you looking for from our team, from me in my position, from me? If you watch my film and you can understand what type of player I am and what value I bring, let me see what you expect. Mm-hmm. Do you expect something less than I can give, or do you expect something more? Either way, I'm going to outwork whoever you put in front of me to get my playing time. Or to keep the playing time that I was already getting, or to get more. That was just my mindset. To fill the spots in where the team needed it and the coach was going to use me. And I did that, and I was playing.
Absolutely, for sure.
And then there's the leadership part goes with that too, because there's some other players who didn't take it very well, and kind of upset about it. And I wasn't upset. I was just like not that I didn't care, because I really wanted to play for those coaches for 4 years. Travis Mays, Karen Aston, and Coach Conrad, and Harston as well, Kathy Harston. But it was like, I can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any control. So we are on action right now. So we're on, what's the word I want to use? We just got to react now. We got to keep going. So. Right. That's it.
Yeah, you chose to focus on what you could control, which was how hard you played, your effort, the time you took to get to know the coaches, understand their philosophy, buy into their philosophy. Because a lot of athletes, you have to understand that when you go to college, you have to buy in. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, you have to buy in, because if you don't buy in, it will show in your actions. It will show in how you play. It will show in practice. It will show in your attitude. It will show in the classroom. And when you don't buy in, coaches don't want anything to do with you.
That's the name of the game.
Playing time will decrease. You will possibly lose your scholarship. You may get released. You just don't know. So if you can't buy in, you're lost to them.
Say it again, Coach. What'd you say?
I said, if you don't buy in, you're lost cause to them.
You're lost cause. I mean, we're just being real. We've been through it. You have to buy in. Same thing overseas. I'm sure you had some teams where you were like, why are we running this? I had some disagreements with coaches, but at the end of the day, I'm here to play. I'm here to get paid. I'm here to do a job. I got to buy in to what they're trying to make us do and execute. And then if we try to execute so much and then they finally figure out, this is not going to work for our team, let's move on. Let's change it up. So, yeah, that's how you got to do. You got to adjust and just do what you got to do.
And you spoke a little bit towards the end about leadership. when there is a coaching change, when there is a shift in your program, whether a lot of players decide that they're going to transfer out, whether you get a really big freshman class coming in. I went to college and there was two of us, two freshmen coming in. It was me and Kelsey Griffin. We were the only two freshmen walking in at Nebraska in 2005.
Okay.
You were in Austin and there were 7 of y'all.
7.
That looks very different. You know what I mean? So from a leadership perspective, if you are an upperclassman and you know that there's a coaching change coming, how do you step up and help the underclassmen adjust? How do you step up and help the other upperclassmen buy in? Because there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you could leave. I guess you could transfer out if a coaching change happens and you don't like it. You could always leave. But if you choose to stay, as the leader of a team, how do you get them to truly just buy in? And that's where you get the separation in leadership. That's where you get the separation in who is for the program and who is not. Yes. And as a leader, you want to be all in and you want to have people follow you. And you don't, and because no matter what, there's going to be a leader on the team. Do you want it to be a positive leader or do you want it to be a negative leader? Because you could have the best attitude in the world and I could have the worst attitude in the world and people are going to follow both of us. Mm-hmm. Who has the bigger following is where the team is going to go. You know what I mean? Just like one bad apple ruins the whole bunch. It's the same thing with leadership. So you have to understand as the leader in situations where there's a huge shift. Say another big shift could be one of your star players, your starters, goes down with a season-ending injury. That's a shift because the offense looks different. The defense looks different. The team looks different. So all of those things is really where leaders are needed to step up. And so in the locker room, did you guys have any of that going on? Any of those talks? Did you step up and do that? Like, how did that look in the locker room as a collective around this coaching change?
I'll be honest, I can't totally remember our locker room chatter in moments, but I think for anyone listening out there, if you're in a leadership position or if not, it doesn't, when new coaches come in, for individual players, their skills do not change. Their strengths and weaknesses do not change. So what they bring us as a team do not change. They will be utilized differently in this coach's philosophy. That's it. And we have to continue to put the team's goals on a pedestal. Our team goals of winning the Big 12 conference and getting to the tournament does not change. So we just have to continue to stay on the same page with our goals and keep those in mind. And then we kind of integrate that with the new coach's philosophy, what they expect of each player. So roles may change, and we have to be okay with that, because if roles change and we execute the philosophy of our coach and we execute his or her plan, and we're working towards our Big 12 goal, or we're working towards getting to the tournament and getting to the Final Four. Who cares? Who cares about how many minutes you really did play? We're trying to get to our goals as a team. It does not change from the other coach to the next coach. Mm-hmm. If it does change, it's only increasing. Those goals should only increase and be harder to obtain, and more ambitious. But and that's and it's hard because you'll get players that are they're more comfortable with the other coaching staff, and they put up that wall. But it's like, come on, we need you.
Right.
And then there's the leadership of you got to baby him a little bit, and not really baby him, but really show that, hey, you're valuable to us, man. We need you. Stay locked in. Stay focused. You stayed because of whatever you chose. This is your decision. Let's rock with it. Let's go. We're all here together, and we're a team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean those tough conversations, those just hugging on each other and loving on each other and understanding where everybody wants to be and wants to go, and we have to have a common goal.
Right. Yep. No, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. If you go through some type of big shift, and we're specifically speaking about coaching changes, and you choose to stay, don't have a bad attitude. You choose to stay. Like you made a decision. Now be happy about it. Or like, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like that
Right.
kills me. It's like, yeah, I made this decision, but I'm super upset. Well, make another decision. Like do something else. Like you
Switch it
made
up.
it. No one forced you to stay. And I know
Mhm.
like when you're a senior and you have a coaching change, I can imagine that is super tough. But you still chose to stay. So buy in and do what you have to do to enjoy and be great in that season. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's pretty much all I want to piggyback
Be
on
great.
what you said.
Be great, and you got to adjust. It's like in the game when we practice a whole we had a whole plan, right? When that plan goes out the door, out the window, and coach is like, "Nah, we finna do this and this and this." You just got to adjust. Those are
Yep.
the best teams. Those are the best types of players that can just adjust on the fly
Hmm.
and move from play to play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So, as you were coming to the end of your career and you had to start making career ending decisions, like, when were you actually going to retire? Did your body make that decision for you? Did you make it? What did you feel prepared for the end of your career? And how?
No.
Okay, fair, not fair.
So yeah, my body said, I told you we was not gonna be able to do this, okay? You didn't listen to me, so I'm shutting it down. And I said, no, no, I can't do it. I'm not ready. Yeah, man. So I've struggled with knee injuries and just body issues my whole 7 years professionally overseas. And that last year I had a knee injury, and I think I had went to Australia, or no, it was in Romania. I had an ACL tear, and I didn't know it, and
Mm.
that's a whole nother story. So when I'm getting ready to leave, I just go ahead and pay for an MRI up there, which was really is way cheaper than the States. So I got an MRI and I bring it back to the States, and ACL's torn, and I was I wasn't ready, and I was trying to play on it, and I don't know why with the team they didn't take the injury serious, and they thought I was, I don't know, faking. But so I struggled for like 2 weeks trying to say, hey, I'm gonna get better and heal up, but it didn't. So I had to go home, and I just got that MRI. And when I went home, I was actually getting ready to go get some PRP for my knee, and it's just blood rich platelets or something like that into your knee to help heal things inside there. I actually found a Romanian doctor in Westlake here in around Austin, Texas. And so he was looking at my he was one who told me the ACL was torn. So he's looking at the MRI. He was like, you have a torn ACL. I was like, oh, well, that's why I came to you, because I know you would be able to read the Romanian. And yeah, long story short, I was not prepared, and I had to retire. When I felt it sucked because I felt like I was maturing in my mind with the game of basketball. It's crazy how you can still be maturing at 7 years pro.
Right.
I felt like I was playing the game at a higher level mentally, slowing the game down, being more efficient with less energy, and then my body cuts out on me. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I can't do another surgery and come play. It's just everything's too far gone in the joint, and so I just decided to retire.
Hmm.
So I've been retired for 4 years. That first year, I went straight into AAU coaching. I was devastated. I was heartbroken. I wanted to at least play until 30. Um, I think I retired at 27, 28. I just felt like I had more in me. I was just getting to a new player mentally, and it just stinks when you can't continue to keep your body up with what you're thinking about in the game. That comes so natural to us. So getting into retirement was hard because now I have to find a new career that I love, and not just the job that is going to pay money.
Right.
And so I went through a cycle of accepting jobs that really didn't adhere to what I wanted, and I didn't know what I wanted. I kind of did, but I didn't know until I was working at Dell this past year, but then I quit in June, and I'm like, okay, this is it took me 4 years to be like, okay, let's just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Stop chasing jobs, and do what I think I have a purpose and a calling to do, is share my story of my basketball experience and try to help, like you're doing, trying to help these other student athletes with their finances, mental performance, and just being the best that they can be and get as far as they want to in their careers.
Okay. Yeah.
Unpack that.
I know, right? Not feeling prepared for the end of your career is tough. And I severely struggled with that, sort of like you did. And that's really where my mental health journey, I'm not going to say that's where it starts. That's where it just spiraled so far out of control.
Retirement.
It's bad. It was bad because just like you, I was in a space where I stopped playing, but I wasn't ready to stop playing because I just felt like I still had more.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very hard and scary place to be. And you have to understand, and then you don't really know what you want to do. You think you do, but you don't. And you just have to try to figure all of that out so you can make some money. You need money to live, unfortunately. And that's just how it is. So you have to get a job. And so, I mean, we're not quite back to the barter system, but I'll give you my half pound of sugar if you give me this.
Right.
Not there. So it's just one of those things where, it's tough. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the nonprofit that I'm going to be adding to my academy is going to be dealing directly with these types of situations, these types of conversations, helping athletes prepare for their life after their career. So think about if you would have started in year 2 or 3 of your playing career, preparing for year 7 when you retire, or year 10 when you retire. Then you had 7 years to prepare for that. And even if it happened abruptly, you would be down, you'd be sad because no one wants their career to end on some other terms. They want it to end on their terms, but you still would have been ready to move into that next phase of your life because you would already know what you do like, what you don't like, the career path you want to take. You would have those connections because when you come home in the summers, you would be working to make those connections. Even if you did like little internships or just, picked up some summer jobs, even if it was just to get the experience, because you knew you were going to need it at some point. And so it's one of those things where when you don't feel prepared like you did, when you don't feel prepared like I did, that's when the mental health of the athlete becomes that much more important. It's really important when they're playing. It's really important when they're young, as they go through things, as they grow in life and mature and all of that stuff. But mental health really starts to come out when you start to see athletes in this space of not playing their sport, whether it's from injury, whether it's from retirement, whether it's from just waiting for a contract to sign. You're just in this waiting period. That's where I've seen a lot of the mental health battles start to surface in that idle time. And so, it's just how would you have, since you were in a space where you weren't really ready, if you could go back, what are some things that you would have done differently to be prepared for retirement?
Okay, so some of the same things that you had just said. So I'm going to echo, when I'm coming home for 2.5, 3 months, doing an internship, something different, something that I actually like. So not just anything, but something that I actually like. Is it fitness training? Is it building robots? Is it architecture, interior design? Is it real estate? Something different. So when you you can follow that person in shadow, what their job is like on a day-to-day, how much money do they make, how do they do it the correct way, and making connections in that industry. The next summer you come home, you do something different, or if you like that, continue that. Continue to build your knowledge with that in that industry, or with another company in that industry. Now, when I'm overseas, I would be learning. Like, I wish I would have actually, no matter what country I would have went to, actually learned Spanish and was fluent. I've decided now that I want to be fluent in Spanish, and then start my second language would be Mandarin, only because it's the most widely spoken language, and China is becoming a business power. So who knows how that will help, the business part and being able to translate through basketball. I don't know, something, it's going to help. So learn a language, basically learn another language than English, or learn two. And then start to learn investing on stocks. Understand what that is. Start getting into real estate. You should, at least every year or two, I think you should be able to pick up a property with the salary that you make overseas. And you can have family, depending on where you have that property, you can put somebody in it to rent it out while you're gone. And then depending on where you have it, you have friends or you have family that can manage it and pick up the rent and do whatever they need to. But you should be building wealth within real estate investing, and then understanding, I don't know what other investments I would get into, but maybe other businesses. So like, here's a business that, have you ever seen those ice, like it's called Twice the Ice, little machines that give you water and they give you like cheap ice, and if you go up to it, like they'll be on like gas station parking lots, and then you can go pay like $1.75 for a bag of ice. Like, I'm looking into stuff like that, because you can own that little building, and it sits on somebody else's land on the gas station,
right?
And figuring out how do you finance that? How, if you don't have the money, or do you just give a down payment, and how do you finance the rest of it? You know, like figuring stuff out, and then just learning financial literacy, how to understand your taxes, how to budget, how to save, and just what to do with your money. Now, when you're getting overseas, I wish I would have had a mentor and did a way better job of taking how would I say, just a budget, saving money. Like, once I get paid, I don't even see this money. It's going into a bank account, and I can't touch it. So that at the end of the season, I have some thousand left to, like, oh, I just like saved 7,000. What, instead of holding this into a bank, what can I do with this? How can I make my money grow? How can I start to build wealth and put it in my family's name in an LLC? What is an LLC? So while we're over there, we have plenty of time to Netflix and chill, go party, just being realistic, go play our game, and then learn a language, learn other stuff. We have to educate ourselves. We have to. And don't wait for anybody. I mean, we have information at our fingertips. YouTube, Google, read.
Right. Yeah, no, that's great advice. Definitely really using your downtime overseas to learn about the career path you maybe want to go down, how to financial literacy, and how to budget, how to manage your money, how to build wealth, how to invest, understanding maybe where maybe you want to live. Maybe you don't want to live in the hometown that you grew up in. Well, where would be a good place for you to live? Like, there's just so much learning another language, learning multiple languages. It's so helpful. So when you're overseas and you have all this downtime, you could probably watch every single thing on Netflix 5 times over in the course of a 10-year career, right? And I'm not being sarcastic, because you really could. But use that time to grow yourself. Use that time to grow your career outside of sports, because you will have a career outside of sports. Even LeBron has a career outside of sports. He's investing in the youth. He's building schools, and he has all of this other stuff going on. A lot of athletes have careers outside of sports. We just don't hear about them that much. And it's really, really important to use that time and to really find a way to utilize your time back home in the summer to build those connections and network. That way, when you're home for 6 months, say you're home for 6 months because you just didn't get picked up for a contract or you retire, you're not truly starting from ground zero. And that is a scary place to be. And that's where you start seeing all kinds of things happen that are negative, or all kinds of mental health athletes coming about with their mental health story, and athletes talking about they struggled here and they struggled there. You see, there's quite a few NBA players that made millions and millions and millions on millions, and they are dead broke.
Yeah,
because they did not do what they were supposed to do with the resources that they had at the time that they had it, because it doesn't last forever unless you make it last forever. And these types of things happen because we're not taught that. Most people across, like, a high percentage of the US, the high percentage and even higher percentage of athletes are not taught these things. And if you're not taught these things, if you don't have the right people around you, if you don't have the right guidance around you, you just don't know. And you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know that you should be investing and looking into investing if you've never even heard about it. I mean, you may hear, like, the stock market's doing well or the stock market's down. Like, okay, but what does that really mean? And if
what is the stock market?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't know what this stuff is, then it's hard to take it serious in the opportunities that you have to actually take it serious and grow exponentially, because the exponential growth, the compound interest, all of that stuff is really where wealth is built. Mm-hmm. Wealth is not built solely on your paycheck every 2 weeks. That's not where wealth is going to be built primarily. It's going to be built elsewhere. And those are the types of things that will be talked about within the nonprofit, and we'll be having seminars about, because these are the things that athletes need to know. Because when you don't know, you don't make the best decision. Now, if you know and you still do something else, then that's just completely different. But if you don't know, you can't make the best possible decision because you just didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, think about how much that would have helped you, helped me, help millions, hundreds of other athletes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wish I could turn those tables back and I did have a mentor, or I would have just, yeah. I mean, we can't beat ourselves up, because if you don't have businesses in the family or people that will pass down those thoughts, you don't know. And it's not family's fault, but it's like, many minority families don't have that. Not all, but some. And I don't know. It's just maybe we also should do a better job of having those type of talks in our before we leave college. Or I got this great education from a great school, but couldn't budget anything.
Yeah, I came out with no debt because I got a scholarship, but I still can't budget.
Yeah, that's the best thing. I mean, I ain't have to pay for it.
Right, and that's all.
Otherwise, I'd be looking like any other college student.
Right, and that's what athletes say. Well, I got out of college with no debt because I had a full ride. Do you know anything else about money? Nope. Nope. But I'm just saying, like, that's the thing. But, like, take it a step further, right? Take it back to the home. We could be teaching our kids this in the home.
We should.
Growing up, we can show them, what going through your bank account and making sure you have a budget. We can show them how to make a budget. We can show them how to, when they get allowance or when they start their first job, how to have a full envelope for saving, for giving, and for fun money, or do whatever you want with it. We can show them these things from a financial standpoint. We can start talking to them, even if it's on small levels, about investing and how compound interest works, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you can take it back even further than college and have these conversations. You can have these leadership in mindset conversations at the home. My family does this. Every Sunday we meet and we pick a book and we meet and we read one chapter and we talk about it. We talk about it as a family, and then getting each other's ideas, understanding where we are mentally, because all four of us are still growing. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter, all the way from my dad down to my brother, it doesn't matter where we are in our stages of life. We're still growing. We're still learning. You never stop learning. The only time you stop learning is when you say, I'm not going to learn anything anymore. Right. So you always can learn. I've learned things from my brother, and I've learned things from my mom and my dad, and vice versa. Like, we're all learning from each other because we see the world from very different perspectives. But when you have those kind of conversations, those are the types of things that become ingrained in your mind. And those are the things that you carry with you. That's how you change generations. And you have all these families that are talking about that have generational wealth. This is where it starts. It starts way back in the home. How do you keep the generational wealth? How do you keep it in the family? How do you approach business? How do you approach this adversity, whatever it is? So yeah, should we be learning these things in school? Absolutely. But we can be learning these things in the home. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who do you want to be? Determines who what type of people you want to surround yourself with. Because again, remember, you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most. Right. So,
quite frankly, they're not going to teach this stuff in school. So don't, moving forward, if you're having kids or you have nieces and nephews in the family, educate yourselves. We got to educate ourselves. We can't wait for the schooling systems, the structures to educate us on how to make money and how to build wealth in this country.
Absolutely.
No, you cannot.
Absolutely.
And your wealth doesn't always have to be in this country. Your wealth can also be internationally.
Sure.
Real estate. Yep.
You can.
Boom. I'm doing a lot of studying.
And the other thing, I guess the last thing I want to say on that is, when you get the knowledge, don't hold on to it.
Please spread
Share
it. It's so hard
to share it.
When I get this real estate thing down, I'm telling everybody.
Share the knowledge, because having it to yourself in your head, it's not going to help everyone grow and everyone succeed. Because just because you're succeeding doesn't mean I'm not going to succeed because I told you the knowledge and you applied it differently than I did or whatever. Keeping it to yourself is not going to stop someone else from shining. So share it. Share
it. Scarcity. That's a scarcity mindset. And when you share, look, if you are the one person that knows what's going on, let's say in investing, stock market investing, and you start to share and help other people learn it, they're gonna keep coming back to you to continue to learn different things. And hey, I found this deal, or I found this person who wants to go in on a duplex, or they're gonna start bringing you into different types of businesses. That makes you, in my eyes, that makes you better and more valuable, right? So instead of keeping it to yourself, you're going to explode as well as helping other people. So, if you one told me about some real estate, when I found a wholesale deal, I'm gonna come back to you.
Yep.
Can we triple it? How can we triple this?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we went through a lot of stuff on this.
Dimes, gems.
Right. No, but it's good stuff. It's stuff that we need to be talking about. It's stuff that needs to be heard. So I just want to say thank you for spending the entire month of October with me on Talk to TK. We are at part 4, but it's been great. I've learned a lot. Hope the audience has learned a lot. And our contact information has been floating throughout the episode. So if you have more questions, comments, thoughts, want to continue the conversation, do not hesitate to reach out to either of us. We text quite often, to be honest. So we're always bouncing ideas off of each other, and we're here for you guys. That's really what we're here for. So, Coach E, thank you so much for this past 4 weeks of being on Talk to TK, talking about all kinds of things from overseas to mental health.
Yes. Listen, guys, if you are watching this, or in the future when you do watch this, you better email me. You better reach out to Coach, because that is the only way you start to get your questions answered and you start to move forward and get out of that bubble of, I don't need help. Yes, you do. You do. And if even if you don't, you should always be wanting more feedback and more opportunity. And just to reach out to us. Because when I get my number out, when I get my email out, I don't know what it is, but student athletes don't contact you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't contact me. When I say, hey, I've been McDonald's All-American, played at UT, highly recruited. I could go anywhere in the States to go to school, and 7 years professionally. I don't get any. How did you do it, coach? But you want a scholarship, but you're not gonna ask me.
Right. We've done it.
But and it's not just me. It's just like, hey, someone that has done it. There's a blueprint in front of you.
Right. There it is.
It's not about me. It's just, I'm a blueprint. I'm at least one way I know I can help you get there, and your mindset. And that's probably what these kids need is a mindset. I wish I had a mentor that reached out to me in high school, and especially leaving college. That bugged me too. So I'm gonna have to bug some of y'all.
There it is.
Bug some of y'all.
Well, I appreciate you saying those words. It's very true what you're saying. So, well, I will be back here next Tuesday at 7:30 with some great content for you guys. I'll be posting about what I'm going to be talking about and what the plan is for November. So thank you for joining in. Coach, stay on the line, and I will see you guys next week. So everyone have a great evening.
Peace out.